So you're going to have to be logged into Google, and then you can just go to console.firebase.google.com, which is the link in the lecture notes, and click Create a Project. Let's give it a name, and that's easy enough. We'll disable Google Analytics for the minute, but we can add it. So our app is being created. Okay, so now we'll continue to our app project. Okay, so our project has been created here. And now we're going to add the Cloud Firestore. So we'll just click Create Database, and we will start in production mode. So that's cool, everything's private, which is easier. We'll go next, and we'll just choose one probably a little bit closer to us. We've got, well, we'll choose the Australia one, and enable. So now we've got our Firestore here, so we will start a collection, and as per the lecture we'll go with books, which is a useful collection. And then for the books we'll add in some fields, and they're all in there. So we've set the type, so they're all strings other than the value, the price. And we'll set the values there, so we'll save that. And I've just added another book there just by the add document. Okay, so now we're going to connect our created Firestore to our app. So this is just a blank project that I've opened. So we go to Tools, and we'll go to Firebase. And then we'll open up Firestore here. Okay, so first off, we're going to want to connect to Firebase. And we'll choose our app to connect. Yep, and we will connect it. Yep, now we can go back and have a look. And now you can see we've got the connected tick there. And now we will add Cloud Firestore to our app. So we've connected to Firebase. We'll add the Firestore to the app, and it tells us to do a couple things here. And we will say, yep, we will accept those changes. Thank you very much, Google. Basically, all it's doing is installing the Google Services plugins that we need to access Firestore, and then the dependency for Firestore itself. Now it's just doing the thing. It'll just take a minute. So now we're going to initialize the Cloud Firestore. Here, I might actually make the database global. So we'll just pop it up here for a minute. And then we don't need to redeclare. Lovely. So that gives us an instance of the Firestore. So now what we're going to want to do is get some data that we've already put on Firestore. You can go through here and try out all the recommended add, read, and securing data, and look at the next steps. But this is just a quick demo, so we'll just quickly pull some data from the Firestore, just to sort of have that instant gratification. So now we've just put in the code from the lecture slide. So this is a GET request. I've also added in a string tag up here, main activity, so we can play chasey and see what is going on with that. So put us to logcat for when we actually run it. And just one sec. Now we go back to our Cloud Firestore and we add a rule where you can read without authentication. So I'm just going to make it here so that I'm really lazy, so I just copy everything. It's terrible. So we'll just change our read and write rules to separate, and we'll allow everyone can read it, but still only writing with authentication. So we will publish that, and that should do the trick. Cool, we'll just wait for that to propagate. Lovely. And now we'll go back to Android Studio. So now we can test it out. So basically what's happening here, we've got our making an instance of the Firebase Firestore database, and then we're getting the collection books using a GET request. And basically we haven't specified any other whens or wheres or whats or whys or hows. There's nothing else in our request except for get everything in books. So that is the easiest way to sort of look at that. And it's returning us a task object here that we're using a for loop to go through. And that's going to get us the ID and the document data. So that will be the data of each book. And if it all goes terribly wrong, we'll have an error. So we'll just quickly run that. You don't really need to look at the app because we haven't actually got anything. It's just a bare app at the minute. We haven't put anything in the front. So I'll just stop and we will run it. And then we can have a look at our logcat. There it's doing its thing, installing all the fun things. Launching activity. So now we have a look here, and I've used the tag main act. So I put that here into our little search area. We've chosen for both, but we could, where we've put in our log tags, we could just have D for debug because we chose log D, but it doesn't really matter here. So we've got both of the books. We've got ID 1 and ID 2 have been retrieved from the Cloud Firestore. So that was, so going back to our actual online Firestore again, we can actually look and double check that what we thought was correct is correct. So let me drag it up so we get the best of both worlds. So we've got, oh, sorry about that, just one sec, technical problem. There we go. So we've got document 1, I'm the author. We've got the title, we've got the price, we've got the ISBN there, and we've got document 2 with Bob Jones. His price was only 22. We've got the ISBN there, and I mean we can change that just to see it update. So I've updated it online now. Actually, I might make it just for neatness. Oh, that doesn't matter. Okay, that's written off. Cool. So we've got 11 there. So let's rerun our query here. And that should change to 11. And there it is, price 11. So we can see that we've redone the query when we've restarted the app. Obviously, we could, if we had buttons or anything, we could make that happen as well. Basically, to add data to the app, it's quite simple. So you can go to your tools and have a look at the Firebase examples here. So we'll go back to our Firestore. Where's Firebase? There we go. And I'll just give us a bit more room. So we could use some of the code here to add data via making the hash map there, and that's our query to, instead of doing get, which is what we had over here, we would be doing an add query, but we would be adding a book in this particular circumstance to collection books. So if we go through, it's pretty reasonable as to how you put it through. Yeah, there's the reading data. So this is where we've got this code from here. and you can get more information about doing more complicated queries there. So I hope that's at least a little start for you to get going with Firebase. I'll upload this demo so you can see what I had where, but it's very simple. The only changes realistically that were made for us by the Firestore tool was adding Google services. So they added the plugin there. We actually had the dependency library added there, and this is in our app level build Gradle. In our project level build Gradle, you just have to make sure you've got access to Google, dependencies, the Google services, and again Google for the repositories. But this was all done automatically when we use the Firestore tool. You can put it in manually, that's not a problem, but it's there to help us. So I hope that helps.